Why most doctors do not use inhalation treatment for asthma? What are the reasons for the doctors not being convinced about using inhalation treatment? In different studies, these are the following reasons that have been found out. Status quo, that means majority of the practitioners are in no mood to unlearn. Okay, we are doing something, our patient is getting better. When we give deriphyrin and betnosol, the acute attack is controlled. When we give them on oral prednisolone or oral betnosol, patient is happy. Why should I do the new ones? Why should I take up newer forms of treatment? No mood to unlearn. The second one is, my practice is good and great. Why should I change? My patients are satisfied. I am satisfied with enough money. I have no mood to learn newer techniques and update my scientific knowledge. The third thing is, oral therapy is easy. We don't have to bother, just prescribe a tablet or prescribe a syrup. I am too busy, so I am not having the time to explain about the inhalation treatment and no time to convince the patient. The next one is, I have the time, but I am not able to convince. I have difficulty in getting across to the patient and telling them the uses of the advantages of inhalation treatment, the misuse of oral treatment, and all those issues difficult to convince and discuss. The other thing is, tablets and syrups may be cheaper to start with, and inhalation treatment, buying an inhaler or buying inhalation equipment may be costlier. In the long run, they are cheaper. Today, with so many formulations, the cost of therapy, inhalation therapy, has also been brought down to really reasonable levels, and it will work out to be quite economical for the patient. That has to be emphasized to all the doctors. The last one is, I can't take the headache of explaining to everyone, to the patient, to the relatives, to the grandma, to all those people, and sorry, I will stick to my own methods of treatment. These are some of the reasons which are not in the real sense the good reasons. So, one has to overcome these reasons and use the proper reasoning, scientific reasoning, and switch on to the inhalation treatment for asthma. There are different drug delivery options available for the patient to be put on inhalation treatment. Not all patients are suitable for any type of inhalation treatment. We have got what are called the MDIs, meter dose inhalers. Then we have got the dry powder inhalers called the rotahalers, and the dry powder compressed for disc halers. And then we have got the spacers and the holding chambers for young children and very old people, and of course the nebulizers for emergency situations and in clinic settings. So, whether we would like to choose an MDI or a rotahaler or a disc haler or use a spacer or offer a nebulizer depends on which type of patient we are dealing, and so many other factors which we will see in the subsequent slides. Whatever may be the type of inhalation technique that is chosen, demonstration of the correct technique of use of an MDI or a rotahaler or a disc haler or a nebulizer or a spacer is essential. If we fail to demonstrate to the patient correctly, patient will not be using it in the right method, so much so the drug will not be properly delivered to the site of inflammation, so the desired result will not be obtained. After we demonstrate the technique to the patient, we should ask the patient to demonstrate to us back, so that they will be able to understand and clearly tell us their difficulty in using that inhaler. And we can also point out the areas where the patient requires to take appropriate corrective action, and where the patient has to be careful in avoiding any pitfalls and see that the drug reaches the site of action. So, demonstration, the technique, and asking the patient to demonstrate it back to us is an essential step in prescribing the inhalation therapy. The drug delivery options, we have already seen several are there. The issues that determine which option we choose are the dexterity of the patient, the ability of the hand-eye coordination, the hand grip strength, the motor coordination of the patient, the severity of the reversible obstructive airway disease, the educational level and understanding level of the patient, the age of the patient of course, and the ability to inhale and simultaneously synchronize the inhalation device. So, these are some of the important issues which will determine whether we use inhaler, metered dose inhaler, or a rotahaler or a dischaler or a spacer or a nebulizer. Pressured metered dose inhalers are PMDIs, rotahalers and dischalers, spacehalers, gyrostat spacers, nebulizers, mixed oxygen delivery systems are the different options available. Oral tablets and syrups are of little use. Parenteral IV injections are in general better avoided except in emergency situations where you would like to use parenteral steroid injections, but otherwise parenteral treatment is not for asthma. What drug delivery method for which patient? Very young or very old patient, metered dose inhaler plus low volume spacer will be ideal. Elderly patients, metered dose inhaler plus small volume spacer. In case of young children and very old, metered dose inhaler with large volume spacer we will use. Here we will use metered dose inhaler with small volume spacer. Children who are younger than 7 years, dry powered rotahalers, it will be very playful for them. They will be able to use it very easily. Adults who are very well educated, metered dose alone will be sufficient. MDIs without a spacer will be good and it will be easy to carry. Adults with no coordination, they can be treated like children around 7 years, more than 7 years age. They are like DPI, dry powder inhalers, rotahalers can be used. In a clinic setting, metered dose inhaler plus spacer will be the ideal choice. In case of clinical emergency, when we are treating an acute attack, we can use a nebulizer as the form of treatment. The choice is to be individualized, trial and error may be needed, cost may be a factor in deciding which form of treatment we would like to prescribe to a given patient. These are some of the pictures of the drug delivery options. Here are the metered dose inhalers. So, metered dose inhaler will have the canister, will have the mouthpiece, and through which they will inhale after pressing it, and the drug is delivered as a jet, and patient has to synchronize and correctly inhale the medicine at the time of the jet. Then the small volume spaces and the large volume spaces here listed, they can also be used along with the MDIs. Of course, these spaces by themselves they have no use unless we combine with them the MDIs. Here is the dry powder inhaler, the rotahaler. This one is the metered dose inhaler MDI. Either it can be used on its own or it can be combined with a large volume spacer like this. So, this is here where the MDI is fixed, and through the mouthpiece the patient will be taking the medicine at a slow pace, so that the chamber is filled with the drug and slowly he will take the drug in. There is no need to synchronize when you use a spacer, whereas when you do not use a spacer, patient needs coordination and synchronization of release of the drug and the inhalation. A combination of MDI with large volume spacer is ideal for children. As you can see here, this is the large volume spacer, this is the MDI, and the drug is released into the chamber, and there is a very comfortably fitting mouthpiece for young children, so that they will be able to tolerate the mouthpiece comfortably, and they will be able to take the inspiration at the normal level of force and rate, so that the drug is absorbed. There is a one-way valve here, so whatever the drug is there, it will go into the lungs, and whatever they exhale, the exhaled air comes out. So, this is a combination of MDI with large volume spacer. This rotahaler given here is a dry powder inhaler. It overcomes the hand-lung coordination problem encountered with the MDIs, can be easily used by children who are more than 6-7 years, the elderly patients, and in arthritic patients also. They can take multiple inhalations if the entire drug cannot be inhaled in one inhalation, but they shouldn't remove the mouthpiece from the mouth. They can take some time to slowly inhale through the mouthpiece until the entire powder is taken into the respiratory tree. This Girostat has got several advantages. Non-static spacer made of polyimide material, increased respirable fraction, increased deposition of drug in the airways, increased aerosol half-life, plenty of time for the patient to inhale after the actuation of the drug, no valve is there is no effort required, no dead space, less wastage of the drug, small, portable, easy to carry and child friendly. In very young children, this can be tried, Girostat inhaler. Then of course, we have got the dischaler and the nebulizer. Here this boy is using the dischaler, where the medicine is provided in a disc inside this. He keeps it in the hand, the dischaler, and it rotates. The number of fills will be around 10 to 30 depending on the size. There may be 10, 20 or 30 fills, and he presses one button. One pill is activated at the time, and the dry powder comes through the dischaler. Whereas when you use a nebulizer, the nebulizing equipment is connected through a motor, and the solution in the nebulizing chamber is sent through a small tube through the mouthpiece into the patient lungs. For over a period of 10 to 15 minutes, the nebulization is continued, particularly in acute emergency situations. Here are some details about the nebulization therapy. It is useful in severe breathlessness despite using MDIs or rotahalers or dischalers. Assessment should be done for improvement. Choice is between a face mask or a mouthpiece. Patients who can choose to wear a face mask comfortably, they can be given that. Otherwise, they can inhale the drug through the mouthpiece. Equipment servicing and support are essential, because sometimes the tubes get blocked and we need to have the mechanism to service the equipment and support the equipment. The dose is 0.5 ml of the ipratropium bromide and 0.5 ml of salbutamol mixed with 5 ml of normal saline. Never use distilled water. So, normal saline 0.5 ml, 0.5 ml of ipratropium and 0.5 ml of salbutamol together in the nebulizing chamber, and if we decide to use ICS along with that, when the FEV1 is less than 50%, then we can add 0.5 ml of budesonide also. This combination is put in the inhaling chamber, and then 15 minutes slow to moderate flow rate, we ask the patient to inhale from the nebulizing chamber either through the face mask or through the mouthpiece. This can be repeated either 2 or 3 times a day depending on the necessity. One important precaution is patients should be encouraged and advised to wash their mouth with warm water gargling or warm saline gargling, so that the deposited drug in the throat, particularly the steroid, if we use, is removed, so much so there is no fungal superinfection of the throat. So, this mouthwash should be advised not only for nebulizer therapy, for all those people who use inhalation therapy either with MDI or with dischaler or with rotahaler or nebulizer.